Approaching indirectly, art of seduction. We got this. My name is Sumet Chatterjee from the Flow Zone Academy, and I'm a flow state coach, which means that I help you feel better and perform better. Let's get this video today.
I'm inspired. I'm inspired.
Welcome back to the series. You guys love these videos, so I keep making them for you. Here we go. Art of seduction. This time we're talking about approaching indirectly, okay? Now, if you're familiar with the seduction world, you understand that there's something called approaching directly or approaching indirectly, okay? Approaching directly means stating your intentions up front, right? Like, hey, I think you're beautiful. It's completely cutting through the noise, right? Approaching indirectly is more of a way to play a long-term game, and it becomes a lot more important and sustainable in the long run, in a sense, because you are approaching directly. You're not saying that I'm into you, but there's a subtext underneath where maybe you're asking them for directions, or you're asking them about something that they know, or you're complimenting them. However, there's not a very direct line of stating your intention, okay? Now, we could argue about this, which is the way to go, but Robert Greene believes that approaching directly too soon, right, is an issue. Because if you're doing it too soon, it might be translated as insecurity. So there is a way to do this, right? Approaching directly that can be done well. However, if you're just starting out, you want to try approaching indirectly, okay? Ladies, if you're watching, I'll give you an example, okay? Do you ever like getting like an unsolicited dick pic, right? It's just like, it's not. You're just like turned off immediately. You're just like, what the heck? Even if, you know, he's a good looking guy or whatever, you're just like, no, right? And that's an example of someone who's approaching way too directly, okay? So we want to understand that, you know, she's got to come to her own conclusion with you. You can't like suddenly put your, you know, ideas onto you. And, you know, Robert Greene, he has a very provocative writing style. So I want to give a disclaimer right here. Make sure you're 18 or older if you're watching this video, first and foremost. Second, take what he says with a grain of salt, right? Don't like haunt the peripheries of the edges of her world and stuff like this. You don't need to go into that, okay? You don't need to become a stalker per se, but there's something in movies you'll notice, very romantic comedies, if you're a fan of those, you'll notice there's a scene called the meet cute, okay? Now, the meet cute is a scene where the characters meet in a very cute way, okay? They lock eyes, they're in some coffee shop somewhere, they have that romance spark, right? That's a meet cute. So Robert Greene kind of understands this, but also, like, Robert goes into the historical perspective quite a bit. And so if he's pulling from history, and we've seen all of these like romantic comedies following a similar kind of sequence pattern of these meet cutes, right? Of like, oh my gosh, and I saw her from the corner of my eye, and then, you know, I caught her from the distance, and we locked eyes, and it was just this mesmerizing thing. And, you know, sometimes it is exaggerated in a sense that I don't know if you guys have felt like that in real life. Like when you fall in love, it does have a kind of a narrowing effect, right? You kind of block out everything else besides the connection sometimes, right? It's basically the ability to maintain your sovereignty and certainty, right? And again, these are all my perspectives. You can watch other videos on this, right? As a flow state coach, how am I just optimizing and looking at this more metaphorically, more from a psychological angle? Like, how is this actually working, right? You've got to make her feel secure. Or, ladies, you got to make him feel secure, okay? That's the thing, like security will create the attraction and the closeness. And the closeness generally is also a physical closeness, okay? So this is what is called proximity. They have a bunch of studies on there showing that, you know, just two people, if you keep them in the same environment again and again, they might as well be a closeness or a bond with those people, okay? So this is just proximity. You're in the same dorm room, in the same place all the time. You're seeing them over and over and over again. There is going to be chance encounters. Now, the point is not to go out of your way to try and approach them, okay? You're basically, like Robert Greene mentions, you know, on the periphery or on the edges of this. So, you know, it's like the meet cute situation where, you know, you kind of, again, this can seem very manipulative, right? So I'm going to make that, I know, I understand that. how it might be coming across to certain people, but hey, love ain't easy, okay, as well. So we got to use all the tools we can get, okay? You don't have to, put any labels on any of this, right? On what you want to call it, do you want to call it a meet cute, or do you want to call it like,
a time fractionation, device that lands two symbiotes together to match the hydroxychloroquine of the 6 genome configuration,
Let's not complicate this. Basically, what I'm trying to say is you don't want to just be Johnny Bravo, right? Like that. You could sum up this video like that. Straight up, it's like, don't be Johnny Bravo. Her there, mama. It's like, whoa, dude, did you just call me your mama? Like, and that would be like, as a woman, that'd be your natural response. Like, what's going on here, right? So let the seduction unfold. Okay, this is like a beautiful play or a beautiful piece of music. Right? You gotta let it play out on its own. Give space to the person, right? Don't always hover over them like every time, right? But it's like there's little moments where you catch their glimpse and you see that, oh, I wonder what they're doing here. Like, and hey, if you're doing this, you might as well also get challenged for it, right? She's gonna challenge you. Are you following me? Right? You don't want to be perceived as a creep. That's the thing, right? If you're coming off too much interest right away, it's a little bit like, whoa. To know you first, let me shake your hand, okay? Let's become friends first, okay? There's a progression in a relationship, right? Too much clinginess, too much desperation just screams insecurity. But the whole point of this is to create a false sense of security, as Robert Greene says. So how can you create security if you're making them feel insecure? You want to make them come to you. You want them to think that they're the first ones making the move. They're the ones going to approach you. It doesn't even feel like an approach, in a sense. That's how I think about it. It's like she's coming into contact with my dimension. I'm not approaching her. There's a big mindset switch here. That other person is coming into contact with your world. Your world can be Hogwarts, Narnia, whatever, right? But it's a world. You have an internal universe. You have a whole experience, right, that you might not share with everybody. But when you're close, when you build rapport, when you build that long-term seduction and that trust and that connection over a long time, right, that's when you can start to become, use more like, excitement, fear, danger, like these kinds of little elements to spark up the chemistry or try something new and meet the core needs. Like if one person has a variety core need, maybe they might experiment with role play or something like this, right? However, it's very, very important that you consider the psychology of the other person. This does not mean walking around eggshells around the other person, okay? This is not what that means. This is understanding that they have their own way of seeing things and perceiving things. It's getting that understanding, okay? Some books try to classify this. Men are from Mars, women are from Venus, okay? Let's just see it what it is. A sense of we are so beautifully different, so beautifully unique. So now, let's say you're in a friendship phase, it's getting more vulnerable. Sometimes guys will do this to the extreme, which can be very, very annoying, right? Like a very offhand, like a snarky, suggestive comment, right? Way too direct. The thing is, you want to be subtle and suggestible, okay? You don't want to be completely in your face with this approach because, listen, I see a lot of guys, they call it approach anxiety, but why don't you call it approach preparedness? Because it's the foot in the door that you need in order for you to actually get the job done, okay? If you had no nervousness, you would have no energy because you have a nervous system. Yes, of course it's going to make you nervous. Just go forth and you crush it. Way too direct is like catcalling, right? Which is kind of frowned upon in culture. So you want to really understand this, okay? Approaching indirectly does not mean that you're hiding or you're insecure or you're trying to hide your true agenda or intentions, okay? It's all a vibe. It's a sense of like, I'm connected to you, but I'm not attached to you, right? I'm having this conversation, it's engaging, but I'm not overly invested where I'm clinging and cloying. And the example that they give in the book actually was very interesting, is the idea of a spider, right? If someone is caught in the spider's web, the spider doesn't need to chase, right? Go out of its way to try to hunt. It doesn't. It just chills, right? And they come around and it's like this bait, right? In a sense. What does that mean for you in your seduction? Does that mean that, oh, I'll buy a giant mansion and then she'll like me? No, because then she'll get the sense that you're doing it just so you can get with her. That's going to be, again, seen as insecurity. Give yourself a genuine way that you care for them. It's going to come across a lot different if it's a genuine gift and you care for this person than if you're just doing it kind of like a strategic, robotic, zero empathy move, right? It's about creating those chance encounters. It's about being open, being brave, right? Being in proximity with someone that you like. Putting yourself in these situations which might be uncomfortable for you, but there might be a reward for you too. Guys frame this as trying to get lucky. I want you to remove this idea, okay? Why is it lucky? Okay, it has everything to do with your competence and skill as a human being, as just a person who has the mechanism for love, but it's dormant inside of them. This is what I'm learning from my Tantra journey also as I'm starting it, right? I did a self-love exercise and I was feeling really uncomfortable in the beginning. But after a while, I got a sense of more of an embodiment and actually like learning to love my body. I feel like I've shamed my body so much over the years, you know? I'm finally getting to that place where I'm like, hey, I gotta give myself more credit, right? As a seducer, you gotta be certain, you gotta be like, you know, I know myself, I've got myself. Doing the limiting belief work has also been important for me. You gotta start to explore what are the areas that are really confusing you, right? And really study them. So you're giving the target an illusion that they're in control, okay? That they're the ones approaching you, that they're the ones trying to hunt for you and chase you, okay? I'm kind of like looking back at my past relationships and thinking, have I done this before? And I probably have, you know? Just knowing she'll be at that party or something like this, you know, and I show up. Yeah, just like we all do that, right? It might be chance, this creates this dopamine inside the brain, which can get very addictive, okay? Again, you don't want to be like, right? You just want to be relaxed. You want to be cool with it. Hey, what's up, right? But you're not overly invested in it. Like your life depends on it. No. That's... I mean, we use words to even that mess up our performance, right? Like crush. Why do we even say that word crush? A crush is gonna crush you. Okay? Okay, unless you reframe it in your mind as something else. This is a power of the mind, right? You reframe crush as that drink or something like that now. Now you're like, boom, I'm back in the game. You want to be smart about how you maintain your own aura, your own spirit. So it says, the spider finds an innocuous corner, meaning a hidden or unknown corner, in which it spins its web. The longer the web takes, the more fabulous its construction. Long term, okay? Seduction's long-term game. Its gossamer threads are nearly invisible. So it doesn't even, you're not even trying to be a seducer. That's the thing, right? You're not even trying to do this. Like, trying implies that you're not there. It's something lacking. That you're putting pressure on it, where you need ease. You need more ease with it, right? I want to read this out because this is really, really powerful, okay? So catching them off guard, enjoying the illusion that they're in control. And then this one, this is really important, I feel. There is nothing more effective in seduction than making the seduced think that they're the ones doing the seducing. So you could flip the script in a sense, okay? You could take on that frame like, are you hitting on me? Stop that. You don't mean that. You know what they say about girls from that country. And these aren't lines, right? Don't look at them as lines. I don't want you to memorize these or use these in a sense. I'm just giving random examples so you guys can get better context, obviously, okay? You know, I saw you and you've been meditating before this? I mean, what's going on with you? You have this kind of very nice glow about you today. Naturally. I mean, I'm a handsome guy, you know, I get that a lot, so... Oh, really? You think I'm cocky? I think I prefer to call it certainty, actually. Yeah, that's a better word for me. How about that? You ever heard of Danielle Bergoli? That singer? Bad Baby or whatever? You know, how about that? Catch me inside, how about that? Like my soul, you know? My peripheral edges. Is that jacket from Zara? So I hope this video helped you out today. Have an incredible day. May the flow be with you and stay legendary. Let's get it to the upward spiral, gang.